Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Miller. Every week, I chat with fascinating people from all walks of life in order to bring you knowledge, inspiration, and insight. If you enjoy the show, you can support it by subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with a friend. This is the Jeremy Miller Podcast. Chris, the man behind the camera. And sometimes in front of the camera, too.
Recently, yeah.
Dude, I feel like you do, I feel like a lot of videographers don't like being in front of the camera, but you're so good at it. Like, I feel like you're like good at being like the personality behind the camera and in front of the camera. Like, I don't know, when I did freelance, I hated being in front of the camera. I tried to I never talk, never make myself a character, but you're like kind of a character, which is cool.
Yeah, I don't know where it developed, but I can tell you where it probably started was when I started doing posts with blenders. And it literally started from me, like, I wanted to vlog my day. And you're right about that most of us behind the camera just stay behind the camera because we're just like to be better and just convinced ourselves that we're just better at shooting other people than we are recording ourselves because we don't want to deal with the mistakes or the lines. But I think it's when someone actually starts doing it, like myself or other friends that I know, it's a dangerous combination because when you know how to edit videos to a crazy level and you just end up doing a video for yourself, it becomes that much more of a higher quality or just like a better delivery because you know how to already do it from the beginning to end. But I think for me, how my personality started was working with blenders. And I just wanted to vlog the day and I got a message from the store rep of just like, hey, we want to gift you a pair of blenders. But I thought it was a mistake. I thought they meant to send a message to you because it was when we were like working on videos. And I was like, I'm not an influencer. Like, why are they giving me free stuff? Like, you know? And then I just recorded myself at the store. I was in literally like the jankiest like sweater and hair was all messy and just made a fun video. And that's where like the personality part came out. They loved it. Worked with them for Austin Marathon and getting content for them in their cheer station. And it just kind of snowballed from there. You know, it just kept on getting bigger as far as like me doing more videos and then getting noticed by other companies like Saucony, surprisingly. And I think Ultra recently, actually, Ultra Running. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I just got a couple shoes just to shoot with. Is this how you guys feel? Like,
that's sick.
Yeah, like a closet full of shoes. I'm like, I don't have space.
Right.
Like, what? How do you guys do this?
Dude, it's a real problem. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, free products are great.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna say no to free products, but sometimes it's like, I can't use all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do with it? And I can't like sell it because that's just weird.
Yeah, I have like 20 pairs of blenders then.
Right. It's like, what, you only have one face. Like,
yeah, like I do give some away, obviously.
Yeah.
Like to friends, especially like, if I ask them, hey, would you be down to be part of the video? And then if they have a rate for like what I can pay for talent for the day for friends, like, you know, because I don't want to just pay people on product. I like to pay people like for like their time, you know?
Yeah.
So
that's the hard part too, is like free products don't help you pay the bills.
No, never. But
I mean, some things like, you know, we get like free dog food for the dogs. So it's like, that's things we don't have to pay for anyways.
Oh yeah, that's super beneficial. Yeah. But like, I think that, you know, when it comes to like in exchange, it just has to make sense. Yeah. Obviously, you know, and with that in mind, like for me, the exchange is always like, I may not have like the biggest growth of followers. I don't have 100K followers. I have like, I don't even have 4K. And I think with that, it's some people think that you can't get these influencer roles or jobs, or it's not really about that. They like the work that you do, and where it's going to be seen is really like not only on your page, but the important asset is their page. Like I made a video for blenders and for Black Friday, and it was ridiculous. I was wearing the 3-inch duck shorts I've never worn before. My quads are big too, so the main of the comments were like the sale that year was like buy one 50% off sale, right? You should have seen the comments. Some people were commenting his shorts are 50% off. Like, I was like, yeah, my quads were taking over it, and you know, a lot of jokes in the comments. But it got like 2-3 million views on Facebook and like 2 million on Instagram. Like there was a lot of attention, and they had a big sale because of it. So it's not about like how much following you have. It's about what you can curate for the brand and if it helps them on their side. That's the whole point.
100%. You know? Yeah, if you don't have like a big audience of your own, then brands will still pay you for the content to put on their own page. Like it's user generated content, UGC.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's just as beneficial, just as valuable to a brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's is that so like with blenders and like Ultra Saucony, have they I'm guessing they've like paid you for for projects, right? Or is it mostly just like free product, or what does that look like?
So this is something that I don't like to gatekeep at all, because I will tell you honestly, like with blenders, that first video I made was purely exchange of product, because they hit me up for free glasses and I went to their store to pick it up. And I made that video for free, and they asked me like, hey, can we use this video on our page / ads? I'm like, sure. Like, I don't care. Most people would ask right off the bat, but my goal is to create good relationships first.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is a very unique skill that everybody should work on and have. And that's a skill that I've kind of like made sure to develop well. Because with blenders, I gave them that video for free. What did it do? It led to a conversation to work some photo and video assets for the Austin Marathon. I made a recap video for them, took some pictures of their cheer station, other people wearing blenders, looking out for the Austin Marathon, and they utilized on their page because it was very valuable to them. And then when Saucony hit me up, I think that one was more of a conversation of payment first. But with also any like brands recently, like this water bottle company called Lark and now Ultra, like I am going to a partnership with them because the first video I did with them were free. Like it was very, and the way I base it is, what is the effort level is it going to take me to make this video?
Yeah.
And do I see it of value for me? And if those both questions are answered yes, it can't be 50-50, it has to be both. Then I will just say, hey, let me just make a quick video for you, UGC style, and you know, you can have it. Use it however you like. And it creates a relationship and creates a conversation to start for future work. You know?
Yeah, that's huge. I learned that when I used to do freelance too.
Yeah.
I did so much free work, probably too much free work.
Yeah.
But it, like, you know, 1 out of every 5 free projects you do lead to like that huge project that you do eventually.
Exactly.
That's I'm guessing. I mean, I really want to know like your path to being like self-employed, full-time, like freelance content media creator. Like, what would you say your title is? Because like you do so many different things. I don't know what the official title would be.
You know, I've been trying to figure that out myself, actually, being like a media provider. And I would have to say ckimcreatives is oh man, this is good. This is a great question, because like it really has stumped me, but I've had an answer for this. And I think what ckimcreatives is as a business is a media provider that helps problem solve any visual assets that you need from photo and video. Like, for example, I had a client with a cold plunge company, and he needed photos for a website, photos for ads. And what we did when I worked with him was with a photographer. Like, we made sure, like, hey, what photos do you need for your website? How many product lines do you have? And this is what we're going to do for your videos, for brand videos, to make sure there's brand awareness right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
And I think with that side of things, it's basically a media production company. Like 100% ckimcreatives is that. And then there's the other side of me now, which is I'm a content creator, but it's the same role. I'm providing media assets that they need for whatever the reason, whether it's a new shoe coming out, or can you promote this product, or, you know, if it has, whatever is also the UGC side of me, the content creator side, it has to be a product that I actually like and a service too as well. Otherwise, it's just, you know how it is. It's just very addy, and it's just for everybody's going to know it's for the check. You're going to be like a walking billboard on it on social media. You know?
And I hate that.
Yeah.
And I think the audiences hate that too.
Oh yeah.
And then I think the brands hate it too, because the audience doesn't like it. Then they don't get sales. They don't get conversions. The video doesn't get views because it feels so salesy.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. So I mean, I feel like we probably have very similar paths to like. I mean, I did freelance for so long. Like almost 10 years before I actually like started trying to make content for myself.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see you doing more content for yourself too. Because we had similar backgrounds. I think you're way better at it than me though, obviously.
No.
Like,
I think different skill sets though, you know, like we learn different things, but still we're excelling in our own like our paths. Right. And I think like, it's funny because like when I was starting all of this too, it was back in Los Angeles. Like when I was doing Trader Joe's, I worked there for a year, and during that time, I also discovered photography. That's when I first started as being a creative.
You started doing photos first?
Photos first in LA. My first ever session, dude, the pricing for the first ever session that I ever did was 50 photos for like $75.
Holy
I delivered.
crap.
And it was
At least you got paid.
I did. It was definitely more than the hour for whatever I worked. I also was editing on a tablet, the Surface Pro. You know, it was the slowest thing ever too as well. I don't know how I did that.
When was this?
This was back in 2020. Yeah, I started.
Oh, so not that long ago.
No, I started photography in March of 2020 because I bought my first camera with my best friend. I asked him, "Hey, what camera are you getting?" Because we had the same interest too, and we both bought the same camera. And during 2020 pandemic, like I'll tell you, my portfolio on my website was like of DJ artists that needed new headshots. Me and my friend in LA, when it was empty because of COVID, taking pictures of each other with this neon mask thing. You know, it was just very like trendy TikTok early stages of things, right? And from there, I took courses. I looked up on YouTube of just like everything on from how to edit, skin retouch, or like whatever brand videos or brand like style that I needed to do. But overall, it was very hard in LA freelance. Like freelancing in different cities is really crazy, right? Because LA is such a saturated market, and it's a very gatekeeping market too as well. In my opinion, right? From what I've experienced, it's very gatekeeping.
I mean, I feel like everybody goes out there to try and do something in content / media. And so there's so many people doing it, and I bet the ones that figured it out, they're like, I don't want to tell you the secrets because then you're going to come and take my job.
Yeah, and it's the reverse when I moved into Austin. I didn't start video as well until I moved to Austin.
Really?
Yeah, I started video probably like, I did some video, but never for clients. It was more for like myself, creating a YouTube video, and I was trying to vlog my trip down here.
Why'd you move out here?
I moved, okay, I'm just gonna say, why not? So originally why I moved out here was I was dating an ex at the time, and she was in North Carolina, and I was actually almost about to move to North Carolina.
Oh, dang.
And then there was a conversation, and then all of a sudden Austin came up. I've never heard of Austin ever. And like, it's funny that I say that because we were taught in school like the Capitol song, you know? And I just looked up a gym to work in Austin, because my background is also a fitness coach. I've been a fitness coach for 10 plus years. So the easiest job for me to have income already was being a fitness coach somewhere. So I looked up a gym. They had an opening. I also said that I could do social media, take photos, and just like, they didn't have the budget for it then, but now I told them I just do it anyways, because I needed something to build myself in the city too as well.
Yeah.
And have some proof in work as well. And then that job came up, and then literally within that process of me moving and finding out where I wanted to move to actually doing it, it took a month. I made that decision very fast.
Dang.
Yeah, it was probably the fastest decision I've ever made in my entire life. And it just felt right. You know, if something feels right and it's just for some reason there's no hesitation, like that, it makes sense. It makes sense. I moved within like, I think I decided in like October or probably November, and then I decided to move.
This was what year?
I moved 2021 because I remember the exact date. It was December 9th of 2021 is when I moved when I landed in Austin. And
That's crazy.
Yeah, my first ever stop was Switchback and Pueblo Viejo.
That's wild. We got here, I think 3 weeks after that.
Yeah.
I moved out here like first week of January of 2022. Yeah. That's wild. So we've been here basically the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, like, from then on, it's just like, you know, doing a lot of like social media posts for the gym and then being a coach as well. It's like the best way to kind of introduce yourself to a community of people. Yeah. And also my gym where I coached at back in California, it was like, you know, people in their mainly demographic was 40 to 50s, right? Maybe some 30s, and maybe a sprinkle of like 20s. But really it was more of like a town where a lot of people have families and just settling in. But what shook me the most was how youthful of a demographic Austin was. Yeah. Yeah. And there was just a lot of people like my age and just people like probably a few years older or younger, and young business entrepreneurs too. Because my second client, and to this day is still a client, great friends of mine, is this barbershop down in downtown Austin, and I do social media management for them. I do all the photos and videos. And that's awesome. Yeah, they were my first retainer client actually of doing work for them, and they still are to this day.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay, so you left LA, came to Austin. Okay, so remind me. Okay, why did you come to Austin? So you're supposed to move to North Carolina, but why did you end up with Austin?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was because it just intrigued me more.
Oh, okay,
and it was halfway to North Carolina, so I just decided like, you know what, this looks like a better opportunity for me personally, because like the gym that I applied in North Carolina, it was like a little iffy, unsure. Same thing. I think it probably would have been the same thing of what I was coaching in California, but this just had a different opportunity, different goal setting.
Yeah.
And it kind of set like the foundation stone of like what I am today. Because I was coaching, and even when I recently went full-time freelance media, like probably like a couple months ago. We're talking like 3-4 months ago.
What were you doing? I thought you've been full-time since you came here. I guess you were coaching still.
It was a slow build-up. It was like this scale of, okay, coaching, media, and then it's slowly throughout the years it started progressing. And then now I could conversate, most of my income is based upon what I've been able to do on freelance of retainers or one-off projects, and that has been a grateful thing for me, of just seeing this majority of me being a coach being my income from creative to now slowly building to where like, okay, I have to stop coaching, but I can still do social media and like video photos for the gym. And now technically, even though I'm with the gym still, it's all under being a freelance now. That's
awesome.
Yeah. So
dang,
that was a wild transition.
So you came to Austin. Did you know anybody here? Like
I knew
outside of the gym job,
no
coaching. Like you didn't have anything else lined up. No, like nothing.
I didn't know anybody. Yeah, and being a coach, you have already good communication skills and like people skills as well, and it wasn't that. I would say, like, confidently say, like, it wasn't that tough for me, because I'm a very curious person. I want to talk to people.
Yeah.
I love fitness, and being in a very fitness and healthy mindset like city, it was kind of like an easier way of going about things. Because it'd be weird to be an extrovert and you go somewhere that's like, I don't even know, like, I'm just going to name like random, say maybe Montana, because all I imagine from Montana is like neighbors are like this far and this far,
That's a good representation.
Is it? Okay, good. Yeah. And then like here, it's like everybody's like in the same similar circle, or like interjects in people's circles in a good way, right? Where they're just like, hey, I didn't know you come to this. Like, hey, like you should come to this more often,
Yeah.
Like,
that's the cool thing with Austin is most people that live here aren't from here. Like I'd say the majority of people I meet are not from Austin.
Yeah.
And so everybody comes here in a very similar position, like where they took a job or they're just trying to figure it out. And so everybody's very like-minded and trying to help each other out, and like we're all kind of in the same boat, which is cool.
Exactly. I mean, speaking of like from the gatekeeping perspective, it's like I don't really see any of that here, because like a lot of, to this day, like we, like people in my field, we recommend each other to other people always. Yeah. And when I had my first, I think, job or as a creative doing photos for somebody, it's one of my best friends to this day, and probably one of my first friends that I ever like met in Austin. And he said like, hey, I can't do this job, can you do it for me? I was like, what? Like, what? You sure?
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm not saying like, you sure? I was like, this is strange to me, because nobody just like says that,
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's just knowing that you are a resource to someone else, right? That you can provide when you can't. And I think that's super valuable, because like if they hit you, I said this in a different podcast before, of like, if someone reaches out to you and it just interjects with some sort of scheduling that you can't do it, but you can refer someone else that can do it for them, that's great. Because one, it's either now you're seen as they really want to work with you next time, or they have found someone else that can work with them. And if that person so happens to be needing of work at that time, and they get them as a retainer or whatever, like favorite client, that's huge for them, because that's just another way of getting payment for them to provide for them, and I think that's huge. I think that should be more like, because like it's like that saying, what goes around comes around, because the same thing would happen to me then, because like they're hit me up and say, hey, I can't shoot for this client, can you? Like, yes, sure, so I
scratch your back, you scratch mine, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I feel like that's for like people listening, I feel like a lot of people have aspirations to like leave the city they grew up in, leave their job, try and like build their own business. That's a scary thing, because it's very unpredictable, and you're kind of going into the unknown. So like what I mean, I guess you had kind of the security of the job at the gym, but like, I mean, going to a city where you don't know a single person, that's like pretty intimidating. Like, like we moved around a lot, but I was at Bree. Like, I was with somebody. But
Yeah.
you just came out here by yourself, right?
Yeah, we were still in a long distance relationship that time with the person that I was seeing at the time.
Yeah.
And I really just took it upon myself to, bike ride to places in Austin. And even like I met a friend where she was hosting a class at Auditorium Shores. And I just went out there like, hey, would you be okay if I just take some pictures of your group class and send them to you? And she was okay with it. And she's still a friend to this day. But it was moments like that where I did the responsibility of embedding myself in not coming here to take over, but really just really finding out who are the people that are here and what do they need,
Yeah, putting yourself out there too.
Exactly.
Not expecting it all to like come to you.
Exactly, yeah. And I thought that was a very interesting moment of like what I did, because like I think a lot of people, yes, you're right, like a lot of people don't know what to do, but really like I think people are just afraid of to be that person to just say hey,
Yeah.
I think people just need to do more of that, of just like message someone with relatability of just like, hey, you want to grab coffee or this or that, the one thing that like people should never do is just like straight up say pick your brain on things. Like, no, you should just really want to know the person.
Yeah.
I think, because otherwise I think when people say like pick your brain or not wanting to find about you first is already like kind of like a bad taste in the mouth,
Yeah, when you're only hanging out with them or trying to chat with them for like the transactional of like, okay,
Exactly.
what can they offer me, rather than just like being humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That relationship building should be more important than anything else.
Yeah.
I think the two things that I've noticed of like, because it's interesting because the work that I've been able to get and the work that I do, like there are a lot of creatives in this and all over the world, right? And a lot of people can probably do work that is 10 times better than what I am able to curate or add transitions or add all this in there. But I think the two things that I make sure that anytime I get an email or get approached is I want to know this person first so I can properly provide them what they need. Mm-hmm. And the second part is just making sure that what they receive, they're happy with,
Yeah.
And it's problem solving for them. Like, did I solve your problem with this solution of what I gave you? I think those are two things: being able to build a relationship with someone and being a problem solver in this industry or any industry, in fact.
That's great. I mean, that's like the purpose of any business, right? Is to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Whether it's content creation or a plumber, like you're doing the same thing. You're just solving somebody's problem that they have.
Exactly. And
that's a good approach to that. I like that.
Yeah. Like for the plumber example, I want a plumber that's going to tell me what the real problem is and how to fix it. And if they fix it, that's great. I remember that plumber and I will recommend it to a friend that also has a problem. I don't want a plumber that just comes in all just like, just narrow-minded, does the thing and just hands me the check. I'm like, no, I want someone that like wants to be actually like love what they do and provide that information,
Yeah. Dude, how did you start working with Matt Choi? Because that's how I met you, or how I found out about you initially. It was like, I'm friends with Matt, and then I saw you guys shooting together all the time. And were you like full time shooting for him? Because it seemed like it. Or like, how did that dynamic come about?
I think so. It's funny about Matt Choi because I asked a friend for, do you know any like male models or male talent that I can have for a shoot? The first moment I met Matt was because I hired him to be part of a container home shoot.
Oh, so you hired him first.
I hired him first.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think he also moved to Austin within a very short amount of time too as well within that time. And that's how I first met Matt. And the first thing I said, like when I saw him, I was like, holy crap, this guy's tall. Like,
tall.
I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'9". But like and I know he's like what, 6'2", 6'3", but like, for some reason he just seems taller, But that's how I first met him, and we did a container home shoot, and then he asked me at the end of that shoot, like, do I do YouTube content? And I'll tell you this, I did for myself because I made like 4 vlogs when I moved here. But that's another thing that most people don't understand too as well. Like a lot of creators will say yes to a job when they don't even know how to do it. Like, I don't know if you've ever done that before. Like,
oh, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. But like, that's the thing about, if you're willing to, once you say yes, and right after that conversation, you deep dive into YouTube, learn all the things.
Yep.
I think that says a lot of important like worth ethic behind that person. But it's not that I didn't do YouTube. I knew how to do it for myself. So I said yes, and not like with fibbing at all, because I did know how to utilize YouTube because I posted like vlogs here and there before. And we had a conversation of like, you know, a monthly rate of like how many times I would show up to his place, how many videos we would do a month. So I guess he would probably have been my second retainer client. And we worked on a lot of stuff together too as well. I think the first video that we did together was recapping his first marathon ever, ultra marathon ever, actually he did. And without any information, I didn't even know anything about running as much as I do now. And I just had all the B-roll that he had. We did an interview scene where I would interview his recap and just like, kind of just like, from there, we started working on a lot of videos, like one YouTube video a month at least, a lot of different shorts and reels. And I'll tell you this, what I learned a lot from him, because Matt is a very crazy hard worker. Like, you know, like you are too as well, and like a lot of other people. And I think, and I haven't worked as obviously like long term with you or in the, you know, seed of it all, right? And I can only imagine because you do a lot of your YouTube stuff on your own. Yeah. Right? It's crazy. But I think what I learned a lot from my time with Matt, especially, was not only just like community-wise and like the running aspect, was how fast that guy posts too as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. With and how immediate he does and how many times he did it. And I think that's kind of helped me translate into what I do of like being able to deliver fast too as well.
Dude, you are like the fastest. I mean, you and Drew were close. Drew's pretty damn quick.
Drew's
too.
fast, yeah.
I don't know. I think you're faster with the like video edits. You guys are pretty similar in like photo editing turnaround time. Yeah. Like, dude, last weekend or whenever that was, we shot with Mason last week. We did a track workout at like 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Got done at like 8:30. That was when you crashed on the one wheel. And then literally it was like 9:45 a.m. You already sent me a folder of edited photos. I was like, holy crap. Like, this is insane. Like, how did he do it that fast? And then it was like an hour after. No, I think it was shortly after that you sent the reel. Yeah. So it was like you had all the photos, a reel, everything within like 2 hours of leaving the track. And I'm like, is he a robot? Like, does he eat or sleep or like, what does he do?
Yeah, I'm full on caffeine, probably, honestly. Like, caffeine's my drug. I mean, and going back to like with Matt, I think like with working with him for that long, it helped me understand a lot about what I do and what I'm able to provide, and just different conversations too. But also, it's something that a lot of people should take into consideration, is that whoever you work with, you should also learn from that person too. Yeah. It shows a lot, because I learned a lot from Matt when I worked with him as far as his delivery, what he knows. And also it's crazy because I don't know if people know this about Matt, but everybody's smart, and it's crazy because like every time I came to his house, he always had the market channel on, and I was just like, really? Yeah, he
like the stock markets.
Yeah. I was like, damn, I don't even know this crap. You know,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, huh? And I was just like, it's very interesting, you know, and you learn a lot. And even at that time, I asked some questions about finances too as well, you know, because like with him himself is a freelancer too, right? And he's his own business, and I learned a lot from him as far as like what I provide as, you know, as a person, business, and just like conversations always. And it carries out to whoever else I've worked with you, with different brands. Like, I'm always curious about what other people do. And that helps with the people relationship building too as well. Like, you have to care about the other person too as well. You can't just send an invoice, send a rate. You know, you need to know about the person too, actually. Because what I kind of do as well is like with other brands, I look for what they've posted before or what they've done before, and try to make sure I match that same tone that they're looking for whenever I provide work. Because it's a part of like understanding and being a people person too as well.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, I mean, you do a great job of that with Switchback content. So like, for people that don't know, Chris shoots some of my content occasionally, and he's done a lot of the last few recent campaigns for Switchback. So like photo, video, like doing all that stuff, and it's all very cohesive, and it aligns with the brand. Like, it's the vibe of it all is very on par, like what we're trying to go for, versus like the video you might do for Blenders or for somebody else. Like, it's you can tell that it's curated for that brand. Like, it has the Chris Kim look, but it's also like it's subjective to each brand, which is which is hard to do.
Yeah, I that's something that it just takes a little bit more researching to do. Yeah. You know? Because Drew and I think I've taken a lot of inspiration from Drew too. Because one, if nobody knows Drew Darby, he's also fast too. Like, he's a great runner too as well. Yeah, and he's also Drew, I love you. I love your 2 cats. I've never met them.
I found out he only has 1 cat.
Oh, you lied to us, bro. Shit, just get a new cat. Anyways, no, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from other creatives too, because a lot of my
Yeah.
work is based on another filmmaker, and with that in mind too as well, like I think that's just being open-minded, you know,
Yeah.
being able to like curate content that makes sense for, because Blenders, it's a very energetic, happy vibe, and just like very like let's go attitude, right? And not that Switchback isn't, but it's that attitude, but at a more like, you know, like let's tone it down a little bit, but still have that excitement and happiness, you know? And that's the same, that's the replication that you have to have, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
For anybody listening to this that is considering like being a content creator, whether like they want to be the subject of it, like influencer type thing, or they want to do like help other people create content, like what advice would you have if they're trying to make it a full-time thing? Because now that you are full-time, like you've been through that journey of managing like a full-time job and doing like side hustles, like what advice would you have, or like what's like the biggest thing you could tell somebody?
I would have to say you have to go through the thick of both, because if you haven't tried both all at the same time, you don't experience the same pressures from both at the same time, and that way you really have a better understanding of what are the pros and cons of each. Now that literally have, and this is just my personal take, someone else may have a different opinion, but it's because of what I'm going through right now. Because now that I've recently started content creating, there are days where like, man, I don't want to create this reel, because it's all on me now, you know, because it's a responsibility that I have to do, because I have to put myself in front of the camera, right? It's not a first world problem ever at all, but it's more of just like, is the effort there? And this is what I said earlier too, like the effort has to be there, you know, as opposed to when you get hired to do someone, it is now technically your responsibility and your job now that you've been contracted and signed for to provide for X person, right? Where now the commitment of being a content creator is yourself. And that's the hardest person to talk to, is yourself. You know, you really have to convince yourself whether or not. But if someone is going through that problem now, you have to experience both and make a decision before it gets too late, right? Otherwise you are, and it's sometimes, for me, it feels like I crumble sometimes with the weight of it all, you know? And because as fast as my turnarounds are, sometimes my brain doesn't go that fast too as well. I have my days where just, you know, it just like shuts down, or just like I'm sitting on the couch just looking out the window, just like, what the hell am I doing? You know, and that's it's not the scariest position, but it's a very like it's that time spent worrying could be spent making videos, but your brain is just so like not in this on mode where it can't, you know, and that's okay, but it's a problem that one has to recognize first. And that's what I would say, because, you know, like with you being like in front of the camera now, being yourself, like a creative in front of the camera, not for anybody else, you know, you've discovered that now, that you wanted to do and provide value information and fun content, that you're in front of the camera because you can and you love it, right? And where someone else, they're okay with being behind the camera because they would rather curate something for someone else that looks great and they are happy with.
That's a good point. It's like two elements, I think. There's like how, like where can you provide the most value to the world? Like, is it by just being the guy that knocks out videos crazy fast and like is it shooting for other people, or is it being in front of the camera, providing your own like ideas and thoughts to the camera? And you can do both of those, obviously. But and like just, and obviously, what is more fun to you? Like, what do you enjoy doing more? Do you prefer like do you like the pressure of being in front of the camera and having to like be the personality, or would you have more fun like on the back end, like creativity side? Like, there's so many elements to content. That's crazy, dude. There's so much to talk about with this stuff.
No, it is. And there's another thing that I probably would want to bring up, is like you just have to also let go of certain attachments too as well. You know, because I think you yourself have worked with enough brands and like businesses to like understand this, and you are a business yourself too as well, right? Like whether it's Jeremy Miller or Switchback, that there are certain attachments that you have to let go, which I've understood now too as well. Whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera, because at the end of the day, some things are just business. If you're creating something for yourself, it's you know, it's free law. Just do whatever you want, right? Because it's for yourself, whatever you're creating. But whenever you're creating for a brand, business, or just like you have to create a certain video and there are revisions needed, you have to accept that fact, unfortunately. You know, it's people I think we have an attachment to things, and sometimes as a creative there's a big attachment. Well, why not just keep this, or why do I have to do that? It's because that's not under your jurisdiction, right? It's for them, and it's for what works for them. So although one may not see it that way, and you're like, no, I know more social media than you, or we're like, I like, no, this is gonna work, but it's what they want, you know, and you just have to let go of that attachment. Like I've had videos where I've had to re-edit, or like, why are you taking this out? Like, why? Why is it got to be 30 seconds? Let's just roll it out for 2 minutes, So I'm not calling a certain brand out. I'm kidding. No, but you understand it, right? Because you are a business owner of Switchback, right? And that's the exact same presence of just like, if you are creating something for whoever, you have to let go of that attachment at the end of the day, because it's not personal. It's just, at the cliche of all terms, it's just business. Yes, but it's because it is in the business realm. If you're doing something for yourself, if you're creating a recap reel or a reel of this marathon that no brand affiliation at all, do whatever makes you happy.
That's probably one of the hardest parts of doing content for other people or a brand is like, we were talking about this the other day of like, say you're shooting a running video and you guys hike to the top of a mountain to get this like epic shot, but then the brand's like, nah, that shot doesn't really fit in, and you're like, we spent like 4 hours getting that shot. It's like, doesn't matter. It doesn't play into the video the way that the brand needs or whoever. It's hard, and a lot of it depends on the goal of the video. Is it like to just get views? Is it to sell products? Is it to get followers? Like make an emotion? Whatever it is. Like there's so many different purposes to content. And each video is so unique in that too. But not being attached is it's hard to do.
It is. And I think you just have to rewind yourself to the mindset, because like anytime I feel that like attachment issue growing in my head, or that personal of just like, and it's never attack on like they're attacking you. It's just you've created this personal mental attack for yourself. It's not something that they're saying. It's just something you've all somewhat developed in your brain. And you just have to rewind yourself, I think, when that happens, to the point of like, wait, okay, what was the original goal again? It's I accepted this job from this person. And at the end of the day, it's for them. So whatever, they're technically at that moment your boss, for this whatever. And you have to accept that fact and not get personal with it, I think a lot of times people think about that, about like, and this is a very obviously separate niche of raw files and raw videos, raw photos, I feel like that's also just like a personal attachment that some people need to let go, because it's just business, Like, who cares what they do at the end of the day? What you created for them stands out the most,
That's so true. Yeah, people get really attached to the raw files. Why is that? Is it because like they're afraid? Okay, for people that like aren't in the media world, we shoot at the track. You shoot 100 photos. Those are unedited off the camera. Those are the raw files. You then have to take them to your computer, whatever, edit them, and usually that's what you deliver. But some people are so weird about giving like the original raw. Why is that? Is it because they're afraid of like somebody else putting their own edit on the photos or something? Like,
I think it's more just very personal attachment to it, which you have to let go, because like when you think about that exact problem that you're thinking of right now, right, or that portrayal that you had, like, where is it gonna go? Either you sell it to them, or it's gonna stay in your hard drive for like 3 years and not be used, and you just wasted an opportunity to add an extra invoice on top of it. That's what I do as well. Like I will attach an add-on on my invoice. Hey, if you want the raw video files, raw photos, it just costs this much, because I know what they're going to utilize for. A brand or company is going to utilize those raw files to either put a basic or hire an editor to do a basic color edit on it or whatever, and use it for marketing purposes. And what that does is now they have assets that they can promote for how long, for however perpetuity that they have, or license usage, and they're gonna probably get some sales back from all of that, from video raw files or photos. And that's okay. You just have to sell appropriately if you know that's gonna happen. I think people get attached of like, oh, it's my edit, it's my photo, it's my art, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's great. If you don't want to sell your raws, that's fine. It's not. I'm not calling out anybody at all, But I think that nobody should be yes or no. It's just a business decision that you make upon yourself. Like, I don't sell my raws. That's fine. That's your business decision. I sell my raws at this rate, though. That's your business decision. I don't think there's a yes or no answer to that. I think it's just, how do you want to run what you do?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you were still kind of 50-50, like coaching, had a job, and doing freelance, did you like change anything? Like, was there like a turning point where you're like, okay, I think I can do freelance full time and like just work for myself?
Yeah. I would say the turning point, as in like,
Yeah, was there like the day you decided to quit your job, or like, okay, I don't need a coach anymore?
yeah, I think the turning point was where I needed to free up a lot of my time in order to do the editing time that I needed, you know? And also there's a part with any person, like whatever they do, it starts to fade, you know, of like what you originally started with. And that's normal. We go through different phases of life. One day you're a coach and one day you do creative business, and then another route, just like, you know, whatever path that you're on, it's going to change. This life is so long yet so short that you can pick and change your mindset depending on where your passions lie. You know, I think that's super important that people need to remember that too as well. I think when it came to a point and where I wanted to be able to provide the assets faster or be able to invest more time in it, that's where I decided, like, okay, I need to let this go. Because there's actually this one point too where I remember when this was probably like years ago, like some member at the gym, in my gym in California, said to me, like, whichever is being the most lucrative right now in your moment, you should take advantage of that, because you don't know how long that's going to last, you know? And as much as my original goal before was to be like a Nike trainer. Like I wanted that title of like being in the fitness world as a Nike trainer, and worked my way up to that when I first started coaching. And I realized that ended up not being the goal that I wanted anymore. I wanted to be able to create cool projects, maybe for Nike potentially, you know, a video for Nike, or just being able to provide value to any business or brand, you know, for what I'm able to create.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest turning point of the, like, one, it was getting a little bit more lucrative, but that's because I was gaining more work. And what does that do? It's an exchange of time. I have to exchange time somewhere, and that just happened to be the coaching, which is totally fine. I think I was at a point where, like, you know, this gym can hire any coach and perform the same. It doesn't matter if it's me or not. It's still going to perform the same with a new coach, because they're going to be just as good. If I don't take care of myself and actually invest time into my own business, that's an entity of me now, then who knows when I'm going to get the next chance to do it. You know, it's the same decision of just like me wanting to move to a different city. This was the exact same thought process, just like, okay, I think it's time. You know?
That's cool. I think it's inspiring for a lot of people, and myself too, because it's hard to make that decision. But I think a lot of times people get in this like catch-22 almost, where they're like, you have like all this work and opportunity for freelance, but like your job is kind of holding you back. But it's like you have the security of a job, the unpredictability of this freelance work, but it's like if you could just get more time to like edit or shoot, then you'd be able to make it work. But it's like there's always like this weird period, I feel like, where you got to just like commit to it, and there might be like a month or 2 months, whatever, where it's weird for a bit, and maybe you're like struggling to make ends meet or something. But I think it's almost always like 99% of the time the right choice to just invest in yourself. Exactly.
And you know, a lot of times my girlfriend always says there's always going to be work, and it's true, because at the end of the day, like, you know, you never wish for it not to work out, but if in the worst case scenario, if it does, you do take another job to make sure you build up and have steady income, and then come back to it. You know, I think that, and even myself as a full-time freelancer, I'm always at the, what's it called, the mental state of just like making sure I do well. You know, because I would not want to be in that situation, you know, but you have to be prepared for it. And that's what kind of like also I feel like keeps a lot of freelancers going, of just making sure that they're up to date. They're really making sure they're strict on their schedule of like creating their own 9 to 5 for themselves now. Like either you wake up and go work out, and then once it hits 9 o'clock, you're either doing emails first, the next hour happens, you're doing some edits here and there, and then just making sure you're taking care of yourself in that. Because I think that's where people probably start to get really mentally afraid, is that they've lost their rigid schedule, because that's what their job provided for them. Now you have to just make the switch of providing that full-time schedule for yourself. But the great part is you get to decide. Right?
How do you go about managing all that? Because like, dude, again, I don't know how you sleep or eat or like work out, because like I feel like every day you're shooting something, and I know at some point you have to edit all that stuff you're shooting. So I'm like, how does he have time to do anything?
I will say this. One, I have an amazing girlfriend that understands what the business I am in, because she's worked in the movie industry before, and she understands the long hours and like how important time is. And for any time I finish, especially events, like event recaps, my whole goal that I provided for any event now is that I will deliver either same day or 24 hours. Because if an event ends at 11 p.m., there ain't no way I'm delivering that. Yeah. So obviously that's a given. But I always deliver with this 24-hour time frame, which is why I will never accept a net 15. You already know. But okay, so with that in mind, right? Like she knows the relationship I would have to say is probably the number one. Because if it was just me living by myself, I could edit whenever I want. I could just come home and just do me, right? But since I have a partner with me in the same household and 2 cats, 2 dogs, there is another job of me of making sure that I'm the Chris relationship guy, with our, pets, right? And that is helpful because she understands when I come home, I'm going straight to my office. She understands. As long as I let her know, like days in advance, I have an event, she understands the go ahead. And I'm usually in the office for like whatever time I finish and I come out and then we hang out. Right. So number one is relationship with whoever you're with. And you definitely understand that as well, too, because, you're not girlfriend, engaged.
Fiance.
Yep. Yeah. I almost did a hiccup there. But that's first. And then the second one is Google Calendar. I feel like that's the most common answer. And whatever like strategy people have for scheduling themselves, whether if it's on your notes, on paper, it doesn't matter. Just do whatever works for you. Mine is definitely Google Calendar because I'm I'm always on my phone a lot too because of social media stuff that I do. So having that reminder of like, hey, it's time to do edits, or like, hey, you have a shoot coming up in X amount of time, get ready for it. I even put on my calendar prep equipment. If there's a shoot at 3, I put on my calendar, prep your stuff at like 1:30, and take 30 minutes to make sure you have everything. And it's very structured in that amount. And I mean, if we're going now into third, so we've done relationship, we've done like what I've done to schedule myself out. If we do third, as far as like health and wellness, I'll tell you this, I have a really bad caffeine addiction, I think. Like 100%. Is
that the secret?
I mean, it's not the secret. It's definitely like has its cons. But I think when it comes to health and wellness, like I prioritize my health a lot I know I just started with a lot of caffeine, but let me start with this, is making sure I have a routine workout schedule or I get fitness and movement in. Because I think that helps you breathe again. That helps your mind kind of like rejuvenate into new thought process, and it clears your mind. Like I don't even listen to music whenever I'm working out or on a run because it opens my brain up to think about new ideas, new edits, or new colors that I see. And just like whenever I think I love runs, especially the most, because if I'm on an early run or an evening run, sunrise and sunsets are so beautiful, right? And then for some reason, your brain, my brain at least, goes into this like adrenaline rush and like euphoria of just like thinking of different types of things that I'm probably going to do as far as like my work. And it gives me new motivation and determination of just like, okay, time to make sure I execute on this.
Yeah.
That's huge. Right?
How much caffeine are we talking?
So, okay. I think let's count for today. Today, I probably had at least 400 milligrams already so far.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
is that like typical?
Okay. I think typically 300 milligrams minimum.
Is that, what form does this come in?
This comes form in the first of coffee. So today I actually had a nitro cold brew. The one, I forgot what brand it is, but they sell it at Sprouts in a can. It had 200 milligrams of caffeine. So I had that.
I'd be cracked out, dude, if I just drank 200 straight milligrams.
I've recently got on this caffeine gum too as well, Neuro gum.
I've heard of that. Yeah,
I like it. I really do, because also I think I just have a really bad addiction problem in some areas of my life. Because like Trident gum or whatever. Yeah, I will literally go through a pack in like a day and a half.
Really?
I have a bad problem with gum. So
I mean, there's worse addictions.
It is. But like with this gum, it's not sponsored at all, by the way. But if they want to sponsor me, great, cool, I will accept. With this gum, it's like 40 milligrams a gum, and it's recommended 1 to 2 a day.
Okay, so obviously that's like a cup of coffee, roughly.
Yeah, exactly. I go, really? It's only 40.
I think it's like 60-ish, 65 maybe. It's a cup of coffee.
Well,
it depends on what kind of coffee. Probably.
You're convincing me that I could drink like 3 cup of coffees now.
I mean, obviously every cup's different.
Yeah,
and I think cold brew or like the nitro aspect is
higher.
More. Yeah.
It's probably like in the hundreds or whatever, right? Yeah. But that's typically I always love cold brew. If I have opportunity for nitro cold brew, I go with that. But if you add now 2 newer gums, that's 80 milligrams, because I've already had my second gum already, and I spit it out before I got here. And I also drank half a C4 today, just half. So we're talking at least 380 milligrams of caffeine so far. So probably 400 if we're really thinking about it. And that's I would say it's not the healthiest side of me, but I will say like I'm not gonna give it up anytime soon.
Yeah.
And it does personally help. I mean, coffee is not that bad. I will minimize it though. There will be days where I probably just have just 200 milligrams and that I stop. You know, there would be some, but there's always. I'm not gonna lie. In my lifestyle, like there is always caffeine. But overall, like there is a good relationship. Really taking into consideration of scheduling myself and making sure I'm accountable for that, and just making sure I move my body to stay healthy because. I mean, like, I think a lot of people don't do that. You know, they don't work out, they don't stay active, but that's super important for them because if you're just stuck in a room all day editing or just like thinking what to do next, like, how about you take a break for yourself and you can think about what you do next, whether if it's like that's yoga, pickleball, you know, running, lifting weights, it doesn't matter. But I think doing that will help you kind of refresh your brain a little bit more.
100%.
You know?
Exercise is essential. I think every day. Even going for like a 20-30 minute walk. Just like leave your phone at home and just like go think.
Exactly. Like if I'm ever in a rut, I will go on a walk or just go on a run again, you know, and even if that means like I'm not obviously a runner like you, but like if I had 3 miles already in the morning, but I'm in a rut, I'm like, I'm just going to go on a 2-mile walk and jog. You know, just like I need to refresh my brain.
It's
so
helpful.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's always gonna be better than taking a cigarette. You know, like just get into that mindset of just like you need to take care of yourself because that's gonna be a reflection of your work. If you are negatively affecting yourself, your work is gonna show up negatively too as well. And, you know,
100%.
Yeah,
it's like putting your oxygen mask on the airplane before helping anybody else. Like you gotta take care of yourself first, otherwise you're not going to be able to fully help other people as much as you could.
Yeah. Screw your kid, man. You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. That's huge, I think.
So what's your process for, like, say we're shooting, like last week, we shot a workout on the track. Like, what's your process before the shoot, prepping for the shoot? Like, even your thought process of, like, during the shoot? I'm really curious to hear, like, kind of start to finish for a project. How do you go about that?
So, I mean, like, a lot of people probably in the beginning used to do this a lot where they just run and gunned it, you know, but at a certain point that becomes very inefficient, you know, even event planning for me, like events that I get hired on for, there's a pre-production stage too as well, because you have to have structure in order to be able to perform the result that you want. If you're just running and gunning it, it's an unpredictability factor, which is gonna suck, you know? And anytime, so like with any shoot, whether we do a shoot or I have an event shoot, a brand, whatever, it actually falls under the same category is making sure I invest in the pre-production phase of everything and every pre-production phase is going to be a little bit different, but it's more so like I know what I'm going to shoot, what I'm going to get. And I list that down. So if it's like a track workout, right? Okay. Make sure we get motion shots of you running. Make sure we get maybe like very close-up shots of your face to show the effort, you know, the feed, slow shutter. You're a fan of slow shutter too as well.
I love the blurry photos.
Exactly. Yeah. You mentioned this before, which is also what I researched before too, before our first shoot together. You love blurry photo, or we talked about, and I made sure to provide for that, right? It's about going to that pre-production phase of like looking into things and researching everything before you go into it. Because like if you're going to shoot for an electrolyte brand or whatever, right, or a shoe brand, you got to know what they are looking for. And if they've already it goes the same way for a new brand on the market too, because they're referencing other brands too as well. So you just have to do a deep dive of like what you want to shoot, how and the placement you're going to go. And this goes just for photos. When it comes to videos, you just got to lay out how do you imagine your scene playing out for this video, right? With events, it's probably the easiest for me because I already know how to. I've shot a lot of events recently where I've kind of had the structure, like I know how my layout's going to go. I want to show what the event is happening, so you got to show a wide shot of that, whether if it's a drone or just like a banner somewhere that says the event, right? And then you go into all of my style is a lot of engagement moments, where I capture people smiling, interactions, and then you make sure you always get products because that's very important usually at events. Yeah. And then you just have a good closer. How do you want to end it? You know, and you just think about that. And you know, I think that goes with any other video project too as well. You just got to know like where you want to end it, where you want to start it, beef up the middle, right, and create a shot list for yourself.
Will you pick out like music and stuff beforehand too?
I don't. So that's an unorthodox part of me, actually. I don't pick out music before anything. And I know it's like it makes it a little tougher sometimes, but it's not the make or break at all. I think the make or break is really like listing what you want out of your shoot. Because like if you're not happy with what you're getting, it's probably because you didn't pre-produce it first. Imagine in your head and really like vision it, of what you wanted. Music is a hit or a miss, honestly, because I honestly pick my music after. I'm not gonna lie, like it gets tough sometimes. I will do a deep dive on Instagram for trending audio or music bed now. I'm just like, come on. But
music's hard.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the energy of the video. Like it's like the main carrier of energy.
Exactly.
And sometimes maybe the music, I can see doing it afterwards and make sense, especially for an event, because like you want it to match the energy of the event.
Yeah, exactly. And man, when people come at you with the music change, it's the worst. So I will say this, it is helpful to pick music beforehand first, so that way you don't have to run into that problem. Yeah. But most of the times, I think people just want the video very fast. That doesn't matter. Yeah. As much. And sometimes you get lucky with an overlay of music too as well. But I think that's the biggest part whenever I head into anything. And that ends up resulting in a faster editing process, because you know what you got, what you shot. Now it's just putting it all together. For photos, put the edits on, which ones are the bad ones, so delete those. For the videos, how it's going to structure out. I will say though, the video that we did recently of me falling off the one wheel and the camera was surprisingly going, I'm so glad I had that footage, because that was the intro right there. I was like, immediately forget all the other crap, this is the intro right here. This is the one.
That video did good. I think it's did over like 35,000
for like a camera video, right? Yeah.
It's a camera video.
Because it's so insane how a simple iPhone clip will get 1 million views, yet a very curated camera video, like edited, color graded, and everything, will get like 30K.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. Dude. But I mean, hey, it reaches the right people. And we talked about too as well, like why you ask for, people like myself, like Drew and everything, for like photos and videos the way that you do. Because even if they don't perform as high in the metrics as far as your iPhone clips and what you curate yourself, there's a reason why you hit us up, right? It's because it still needs to, you yourself, Jeremy Miller, are a business. Yeah. And brands and business are hitting you up. And if they see a curated camera content, then they say like, oh, he's got a guy. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's sometimes hard to invest. It's just like marketing. It's it's like an intangible value that I think it adds, because 9 times out of 10, if you post, it could be the same exact video. Yeah. Same shots, same music, same cuts, everything. But one is shot on like a nice Sony cinema camera and one is on iPhone. 9 times out of 10, the iPhone's going to perform better.
It's wild.
I don't know why. Maybe it's more relatable. Yeah. It's like, it seems less salesy or produced or something. But there's so much value in that high quality stuff too, because you're building a brand. It's like the ethos. It shows like the audience that you're like caring about the content enough to like pay a videographer and an editor and like invest into it. So even though it might not perform as good to like the general audience, I think it does a great job of building a brand.
No, exactly. And I will say, I'm curious, like what if I had like a phone on my camera mounted recording the exact same fall, Dude. I'm curious about that too.
I mean, do they make that? There's gotta be like,
there's mounts for that. I personally don't do it just because it just makes me handle the rig a little less. I mean, people do it obviously for the content. Kudos to them to taking the time to get BTS content of themselves. Like me, like I would like it, but honestly, if putting on a scale of like a scale of how much do I care, I don't care that much, honestly. And man, I still laugh at that video, but just because
so good.
I know it's shot horizontally, so I can't wait to produce the YouTube video for that. Like that's gonna be money, man. The fact that I had the DJI mic still on you was probably the greatest part, because had I had a shotgun mic, you probably wouldn't have heard what you said.
Oh, Chris! Oh no, Chris ate shit.
So good, man. So good. Back to your original question, like yes, it just comes with the pre-production phase. That is honestly the 80% that you need to do, because like everything else just falls easily. Because like with the video that we did for Switchback of Kaylin, I knew what shots I wanted. I knew how we were going to shoot the interview scene. I knew what was going to be like overlaid, right? I built out the story here before, because pre-production phase can either be, a couple days, a week, or a month, and your shoot days are just 2.
Yeah.
It's this meat right here that's really built out whatever you curated, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine on like a Hollywood film, it's like pre-production is like years.
Oh, yeah.
Shooting is like 5-6 months or something.
Exactly.
And then the post is probably another year or 2, whatever.
Yeah, you got to write the story first, right?
There's so much that goes into it.
Yeah. So I think and the more you do that, I think brands and people will notice, and they understand, like they love what you do, because not only did you create a good image, you're able now to provide a whole storytelling piece, whether if it's in photos or videos,
Right.
Even iPhone clips, it doesn't matter. I think like how much time do you take to like kind of pre-produce things, in your opinion?
Dude, I'm so bad with pre-producing.
Oh, really?
Hardly anything.
Yeah.
You should know this because I show up unprepared most of the time.
I mean, like, well, what about like Switchback though, as a business? Like, you would say like,
okay, for that, for sure.
Yeah. I think I guess it's different as being like, like a fitness creator of just like creating on the spot moments. Right?
I mean, I just wing it 99% of the time.
Yeah. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that too as well.
Yeah.
I think like it just depends how a person works,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I create more stress on myself if I wing it. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah.
I've always just been so bad about like planning things. Like Bree is the planner. Like she's like, where are we going next month? I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going this weekend. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm bad about it.
Yeah.
I like that though. Okay, then what's your process? We could kind of talk about like the shooting, all that, like how you go about that. What about like the post production? Like
post-production.
Okay, we just wrapped up the shoot. How do you get this stuff done so fast? Because I don't understand.
How I get it done so fast. One is I'm obsessed. I think that's the main word to do it. Like, because you don't have to deliver something fast. Like I just do it because I'm obsessed with that process. And I think for anybody, like whether you're obsessed with running or with creating art, there's a reason why you're able to do what a person is able to do, is because they are upset.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just hear your dog just
scratching his ear.
Yeah, and I just saw the corner. Yeah. There's a dog down here, by the way. He's awesome. Wait.
They're actually being pretty good today.
Yeah.
Dude, they were crazy when
Dude, look, oh man, that guy's just knocked out. Sorry to interrupt in the session, but I think it's like when it all boils down to it, I am very obsessed. The fact that I tell my girlfriend like, hey, I'm going to my room to edit, after I get back to this, and she understands it, like, is that obsession helps me kind of like deliver it fast, because it's not like I would have to deliver anything fast. I choose it because I'm obsessed with that process. I'm obsessed with making sure whoever I shoot for gets it, so that way they're able to post it for their audience right away. Because it's valuable to them, and it's valuable to me that the person gets it at that speed. Because nothing, in my opinion, like, and this is why I deliver event recaps so early on. It's like, if you deliver a week later, nobody's gonna care. There's a sense of urgency in certain aspects. I think in the field that I'm in, urgency is always there. If it's for like a high-end commercial, like, it's gonna go through review stations, post-production stuff of revisions, right? And that's all good. But I think in the field that I'm in, I'm obsessed with the process, and I want to make sure I deliver very fast, because that's just how I operate. That's just how I'm wired in sometimes with certain shoots, whether if it's with you or even like a brand shoot. Like if I love what I'm curating, why not go right away home and edit, and like being able to do that, And I think it's another thing for like, it's free marketing for yourself too as well. Like you post like screenshots of the video, or like repost the photos, like, it's great marketing for yourself to have too.
Yeah, dude, it's like, I think after the first time working with you, I was like, damn, that guy loves what he does. It's like, it's so obvious, and it's like, it's so easy to see, like, you're, like you said, you're obsessed with it, and it's so cool. Because like I did so many jobs when I was doing freelance. Like I was just there because it was a paycheck. And I was like, I do not want to do this, but I need to make money. And I can tell that, like, I'm sure you have some jobs like that. I think everybody does. But most of the time, like every time we shot together, I'm like, I can tell that you just like it, and you're so quick. Because I feel the same way. Like I go shoot something, I immediately want to just bring it home and edit it because I'm so excited about it. And I can tell you're the same way with a lot of your projects. So it's cool.
You know those meme videos of like where it's like what a client expects after a shoot is done, and the person's like running down the hallway to their room. Like, I mean, that's me, but I'm not running. I'm just like, like la 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 la. I'm ready to edit this so fast because I love it. That's a huge component. Like, I mean, the fact that you said that, when we rewind of like whether to choose this or this too as well, that's a big deciding factor. Like you are so obsessed with what you do and what you want to do to get better at, that should be the route that you choose.
Dude, this is great stuff. I think this provides a lot of value to people, because I mean, I don't know about you, but like before Instagram, mostly, I guess YouTube was probably the first one where you could like make money, like real money as both a content creator, or like even that term was coined, and then being like a videographer for other people too. Like I never saw a way to really make money with content until like 5 or 6 years ago, and like I started seeing more stuff on social media. But like did you ever think, well, before I ask that question, like I was just saying, I think it's so valuable because now it's such a massive industry and a massive market, and I think so many people want to be an influencer or a creator of some kind, and I think this is just good information for those people. But question, did you ever, so before you got that first camera, like started doing photography, did you ever have any idea like what you wanted to do? Like I know you worked at Trader Joe's. I'm guessing that's not what you wanted to do forever, but
no.
Did you have any like big ambitions of what you want to do?
I think the first big ambition was being like a Nike fitness trainer.
Okay, right.
And then I applied to this internship where I was going to be a quantitative studies researcher. And at a very I know, right? It's just that word, the job title alone. It was a really cool company. They basically were in charge of, and they have big brands to their name that they work with, like Nike, Under Armour, and just like whatever. But their job was to gain qualitative and quantitative data and turn that into a very easily readable pitch deck, with pie charts, graphics, but like make it visually appealing while summarizing things fast, right? Because we're in the business and market of speed now, no matter how you see it or not, you're right. People want things fast and people want the information now, because whoever has the news first ultimately like wins and has more like, viewership over it, right? And it was a really cool job because they were based in Seattle. I kind of wanted to go to Seattle at the time too as well, but I didn't get it, which is totally fine, right? And when I really think about like where I'm at now, I think subconsciously, like when I was a kid, I used to watch Nike ads on repeat on YouTube. Like I loved all of their YouTube, and I was playing football too back in the day, and like I loved all of their ads. I loved how emotionally connecting they were. Not even just Nike ads, like whatever brand I saw, like Under Armour or fitness related, or even just like a really cool like video for like, I don't even know, home goods or whatever, or soap brand, right? Or no, beer commercials. There we go.
Beer commercials are great.
Yeah, this always involves a dog or something.
Yeah.
So, but I think when I really think about what I do now, it's like I think subconsciously, like I've always wanted to like either be a part of it in some way or somehow, either be. And this is probably another, like, who knows if it may happen or not. Like, I've always also wanted to be an actor too as well, because I love movies. Like, I watch a lot of movies, and I've always like am intrigued as well, like looking at the BTS or looking at the behind the scenes, or like just like different scenes all the time, because I'm in love with them. And we talked about this too actually with Mason, like the Inglourious Bastard scene, right? Which I've watched that scene on repeat a lot, and it's so good. Yeah, and I study from it too, like how do they like this scene and everything. And I just loved all the actors too as well that like acting is so crazy well. And I think that's kind of like almost like framed me into like doing what I like to do now, you know, whether if it's when I started off on the iPhone filming myself for fitness videos, to now like what I am able to do with the camera. I think it kind of like all routed from that, where originally like I was going to be just, you know, out of college, go to like a corporate business, to that didn't work out. Well, got to make money somehow, or to coach instead. And like, oh, this is kind of cool. I've always wanted to be like involved with like Nike, so maybe a fitness trainer route would work for me, right? Yeah. And it just snowballed to when I got my first camera. Actually, I was going to record myself, but that just flipped into like me recording other people, because I think I just enjoyed that process more, because it was one of those moments where like, yeah, give me your camera, let me shoot that. I'm gonna take a better photo of you right now, you know. It's like that, because you know they're trying to do it for themselves, but like they don't know how. I'm like, give me that, I'm gonna do it for you, you know. This actually happened recently too. It's not that situation, but there was a brand that I worked for, and I saw their account with all of the photos and videos that were provided from the photographer that I hired and the videos that I provided. It looked like crap on their page. I texted him that the owner. I texted him like not word for word, but basically, if I were to summarize it, give me your account password information. I'm gonna log into it. I'm gonna fix this shit up.
Oh my god.
I am gonna, because that's another thing. That's because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed to make sure that people do well with what I provide, right? Like you don't need any help with that because you've already found your structure. But for this new brand, I was like, give me your account. I'm deleting this, deleting that. You know, we're gonna repost this and make it this way. And it's funny because he text messaged me too as well. Like, you literally did more in 1 hour than this agency has done in a week.
Oh my gosh.
Because dude, their posts had no captions, no tags,
what?
and just like everywhere, right? And I just basically went in and just changed up everything. And I luckily took a screenshot of that the before and going into the after part. But I'm like. I was looking at it, I was like scratching my face like a crack addict. I was like, it just looks fucking bad. And it's and I guess maybe that's also like, you know, one of those personal attachments. But I was saying that moment, I could not let that personal attachment go. But I provided in a valuable way where like, let me do social media management for this month. And after that, you hand it to someone off, so that way you have the framework of what you expect from this person now. You know?
Dude, that's a sad part. I think a lot of agencies probably get away with that, or just creative people in general sometimes. Is because like it reminds me of like going to the mechanic. It's like, I don't know shit about cars. If I take my truck in there and they say I need like a new belt or something, I'm like, whatever you say, I don't know anything about it, like just do it. It probably didn't need to replace in the first place. Maybe it did, I don't know. It's like you give your marketing to an agency, like they're never going to care about it as much as that person would that's working for that company, like for the brand that you're marketing. So it's like sometimes they get away with just doing a real shitty job, I think. And people are just paying thousands of dollars a month. And it's like this crappy product. And it's like, it's done, but it's not good.
Yeah. And that depends, I guess, too, as well. Like what purpose are they going for too, as well? Because they can look like crap. I mean, like maybe they just want that quantity over like quality, you know? So, but man, that was something, that moment where like, I think the definition of, for me, like obsessed really took over into play. Cause like, I wanted to make sure, it was really because I also wanted to make sure he got value of his new business that he started and Instagram account. And I'm like, you got to make sure like what we provided you really lives up to its fullest potential. So, and like, I didn't charge him like extraordinarily like rate or anything, you know. I almost did it for free too, because I was just like, this looks like crap, I'm getting agitated as you know. So, but I mean,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, all said and done, I was just like, I just made sure to like just curate everything else, and now it looks like, to me personally, it looks a lot better. And well, the numbers don't lie; it's performing a lot better too as well. Because like the videos that I had posted were like 500 views max. The views that I posted with obviously collaborations was helps, but it also helps any like new brand, right?
Yeah.
They're up to, I think both videos are up to 3,000. You know?
I mean, that's like a 6 times increase.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just like, let me do it. just give me the wheel.
That's awesome.
You know? So
what are who are some of your biggest like inspirations in the creative space, or like if other people are like looking for people to follow, that would be good inspirations for creative stuff?
The person that I first started really getting into, like not YouTube, but just video in general, was this filmmaker named Danny Gerverts. And I feel like
you've sent me some of his stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the video was inspired on for the Caitlin video as well, for Switchback, right? Of him filming a skater, but like not skater, but that same concept. And Danny Gerverts, I never know if I'm pronouncing his name right or not, but he was the first person I've really like noticed his YouTube account, and the videos that he made were just so like what I remember off of the Nike commercials I walked back in the day. This emotional tie with amazing like vision and cinematography, and I was just like, wow. I just dove deep into his channel, watched every video, and anytime he released a new video, which could be 3 months later, because he doesn't post as often, which is fine, I'm always learning something new or just noticing something different. And then from there, it's like a snowball of like, you know, there's the classic Peter McKinnon of like vlog style, right?
I used to watch all his stuff.
Yeah, he's great too. 2 different twists too as well, but similar concept of like these people that are, you know, amazing like photographers, videographers, filmmakers, whatever their line of work is. And then I think for who I follow on another scheme of just like I think it's just any account that provides useful and valuable information. I think his name is like OMG Adrian or something like that. He's this director that did like a year straight of like posting valuable like information for young filmmakers or video creators out there, and that was really cool. And it's really just like you have to be very curious and willing to learn from other people and invest that time to learn in order to learn and like adapt a new skill and apply it, right? So you learn, adapt, and apply. And there's things that I've tried recently too as well that looked really cool, and I'm like, oh shoot, I should have done this like 6 months ago. That would have been really useful for that video, right? But now that you know it, at least it's going to be helpful for another project, right? Yeah. I think that he's one of them, you know, obviously classic Peter McKinnon, but I think there's a whole lot of, I think a lot of friends, honestly, like my friends like Ian Oliver, like Jasmine Kiones, like they're 2 filmmakers, and just like, you know, people in the city too. I mean, like we've already dropped Drew Darby's name a lot too. So like he's like honestly to me like one of the best like running cinematographers out there, you know, and also as a runner too as well. Like he just rips miles like crazy. So
if he ever edits the damn Bighorn 100 film,
call out. Oh my
just kidding.
God.
Just kidding.
And I think another thing too is like whatever you're very passionate about like capturing, invest your personal self without the camera in it too as well. Because I think it was Matt that said it to me first too as well. Like he noticed himself that like what I'm able to capture, whether it's the angles or the process, storytelling, whatever, it's because I've been in that world myself, right? Like I think when it comes to fitness and jump, because I've been a fitness coach for over 10 years, I know what to look for, and I've seen a lot of fitness ads. So like what I've, you know, subconsciously have gathered into my brain has portrayed into my work and even what I go through. Like now, like I run often too as well. Like I'm able to feel in a certain level of like what you guys go through, but also like really tweak the method of like what my hard 9-minute pace is. I can only imagine what a hard 6-minute pace like run is like, you know, and I'm able to understand that and really, you know, go to the drawing board of what do I want to visualize out of that, right? Whatever it's crashing my one wheel for the shot, you know. But I think that that's where I think it boils down to for me. It's not only just like looking at other people's account and like seeing how they work or how they set up, is like investing yourself into that too as well. Because like if you're filming a yogi, well, you got to understand what a yogi world is like. How do they move? You know, like go to a class to really invest yourself. You have to be, it's not like method acting, but it's like you are investing yourself in what you're about to capture really. And the people will notice too as well, you know, that you're really investing into what you're trying to capture. Like whether if it's yoga, you know, a skateboarder, you know, like you gotta spend some time at the skate parks to really see like, you know, like what the difference is as in terms of like movement and culture, you know, small, like what is it? Like not clicks. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the little things that like they do, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Like I don't know, like things only runners would understand.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing, right? Like things only runners would understand. Yogis, skateboarders, pickleball players, you know? Like you have to really like invest and ask other people. Cuz like even with this pickleball like business that have a retainer client with, like I brought on someone that has a vast amount of knowledge of pickleball because I don't know. It's great for me though because I get to learn about these things and apply it into a new way. But I need to know at least the basic foundation information first. Right?
That's so true. Yeah, it's like if you watch a video or like if you watch a movie about football and you played football, like it's gonna be real obvious if the person that made the film was a football player or not. Yeah, because it's like that doesn't happen, or like, well, this is not how it goes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, you have to understand and know the thing that you're shooting.
Exactly.
That makes perfect sense.
There has to be an investment of yourself into it. And I think. Yeah. That, and you know, I mean, like to me, like again, it's just obsession, right? Like you have to dive yourself in order to really like understand like what either you want out of yourself as a content creator or what you're trying to bring out for the person that hired you for X job.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Do you ever get burnt out from this stuff? And if so, how do you combat that?
Burnt out, man. I think my main source of what happens when I get burnt out is when I say yes too much and it just stacks up, right? And I think that's given to anybody too, whether if you're in a 9-to-5 job or just like whatever you're in, right? If you say yes to a lot of things too much just because you're the yes man, it's going to affect you negatively too as well. Because like with anything, like you fill a cup of water way too high, then it's going to overfill.
Yeah.
And you have a spill left over. But if you drink some of that water, right, take a moment to like just finish what you have first, that's where it's going to be a little bit better for your mental state. Right?
Yeah.
And I think with that, like I've had to hand off work to people, even if I lose X amount of money from the job because of it. And I'm okay with that because it's a mistake that I made in saying yes when I've overfilled my cup. And it's never a bad thing too. It's just a learning lesson. And if anything, it helps you understand what scaling is now fully about as a business. Like you have to hand off work to somebody else and you have to let go of that attachment that you don't have to be the one that editing, but you can hire or have someone with you that is able to do the same vision that you have, and you get that result. And now you're going to remember them for that next one. It's like, hey, you did really well on this last video. I want you for this series now. And it's in the budget now. It's in whatever example of that is. Making sure that you are not overfilling your cup. You're making sure taking pauses to sip it. And then when it comes to like an appropriate amount of things, like diversify yourself in your work. Like make sure that it's okay to work with a team. It's okay to give work to other people. I think people are afraid to do that for some reason because they just want to be the solo act, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, and anything that in this world it takes a team to do anything. Whether you are the fastest runner in the world or you're the best cinematographer in the world, it's never just you. It's a combination of the people around you that has either helped get you to this point that you still work with now, and it's a beautiful thing that people need to recognize more.
Yeah, that's so true. That was a great answer, dude. I think that's I've never thought about burnout in that way, but it's so simple, but I think it's a lot of it is just saying yes to too many things. You got to it's hard, especially if you're like doing something new or exciting or something that you're really passionate about. Like it's a fine line of doing it more and like, accepting opportunities and stuff, but then there's definitely a line you can cross of just doing too much of it, and then you end up like sick of it and you don't want to do it at all because you just did too much. Yeah. So it takes a lot of awareness, I think, to like find where that line is at.
Yeah. I mean, like, and also do it before it's too late too as well. Yeah. Because like I actually I got email like a couple days ago about like, and I had a meeting with this guy just like wanting to do work and everything, but at that point I realized like, before it gets too late, let me hand it off to someone actually else that can actually like, and also he's the guy that I referred him to does this like routinely, like that's his thing. Like, yeah. And I was like, I'm leaving you in good hands, right? And someone who's more available than me right now. Cause I shouldn't have said yes in the beginning, but I caught it before it got too late, before like even whatever exchange happened. And like I'm super happy about it because like it's this weight that gets lifted off your shoulders. Like It's like, oh my God, thank goodness, Like it's not that you lost the job or like you lost income because of it. You've relieved yourself of this like not burden, but this weight of negatively impacting your lifestyle. You know, because you gotta take care of yourself. Like overall, you do what you love, but make sure you're taking care of yourself too as well.
Yeah, it can be easy to get to that point too because when you have to hustle for it for so long, it's like you're kind of just saying yes to everything because you have to make money. Yeah, and then you hopefully get to the point where it's like you're able to say no to some projects. Dude, it's 3:30.
It is? Oh shit! I didn't even notice.
I know.
I don't.
We'll start wrapping this up because I know you gotta go. Yeah, another shoot.
Well, yeah, it's in an hour, and we're not too far away from it. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my last question for you. I mean, we went through everything I want to chat about. Oh, okay. This is all great, very helpful, I think, for a lot of people. My last question: is there like any? I know you like dream project is probably doing something with Nike or like I don't know, working at Nike maybe, but like, what's your like bucket list projects / like just your ultimate goal for like what you're doing with all this stuff? It's kind of two questions in one, but yeah. Bucket list projects plus like ultimate vision for what you're trying to build.
I think one of my bucket list projects, actually, I kind of commented on this before, not in this conversation, but with somebody else. So I commented that one of my bucket list projects, I would love to document an Olympian. And especially I think that was more profound, the fact that the 2028 Olympics is going to be in Los Angeles, like where I grew up, where I like was born and everything. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are feeling that way too now, but I would love to document an athlete in a field that I would obviously prefer that I know, whether that's discus or like
Badminton.
Yeah. I just like, so how does it work?
Water polo.
Yeah. Oh my God. But I would love to document an athlete and create like a series for them leading up to 2028. Like,
That'd be sick.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. There's obviously so much hanging where that could go, because whether they win or don't win, it doesn't matter to me. But like, to be able to do that would be a cool bucket list. And then another bucket.
Yeah, I feel like that's very achievable.
It is. Yeah. I think it just depends on like, where that goes. And it's a long way away, right? And a lot can happen in 4 more years now. Yeah. And the other one would be like create another short film project, where I think that would be very impactful, whether it is a documentary or a 20-minute film. But I want to be able to, I think I've always wanted to have this impact for other people, that if they are able to get something out of it, I would love for that to happen with what I curate, whether if it's a short film that I make that's very like inspiring, or goes back into their history of what they've encountered before.
Yeah.
And because I've been seeing a lot of movies like that recently, it's just like, man.
What's an example of that?
I think DD is one, because
it's
a movie that was only out for a little bit. It was the 2024 winner of the Sundance Film Festival, so pretty huge achievement. And it's about basically, and I think the reason why I connected with it, because it's about an Asian American growing up in American culture.
Is it a documentary or like a drama? Or?
No, it's a coming of age movie. Okay. Yeah, coming of age, and I think it's super fantastic, super relatable, because I'm an Asian American, and it was about him like being a rebellious kid and having this confusion between internal home culture versus mostly like in a American high school culture or middle school culture.
Is it DD like the letter D?
DIDI.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a really great film, and actually it's a lot. Not even just because I'm Asian American, it's an Asian American main character. But I think if you were to even watch it, you'd experience even the things of what you went through as a kid, of coming of age, of just like middle school to high school, and the adolescent stages of life. And I think a really unique part was like choosing your friends, and like when friendships burnt out, right? But it was a really great film. But I think a lot of people like love that because it was like just reminded them of that stuff, and just like
nostalgic.
Exactly, had a message. But I think, and like I would love to create horror films too as well, because there's so much. If you do a horror film right, there's so much messaging out of that too as well. Yeah, and
horror is really interesting. It's a very interesting genre.
Yeah,
there was these guys. I wish I could remember their names. They were on Rogan. It's like these brothers from Australia.
Ooh. That
I cannot remember the name of the film they did. It was like last year, 2023, I think.
Yeah.
It was like a pretty popular film. I think you might have seen it. There's something with like a hand. It's like a hand sculpture, and it's like you grab the hand.
Oh yeah, talk to me.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
I did. Yeah.
Dude, it's a crazy film. But hearing like the behind the scenes of, I feel like when I think of horror films, usually it's just like, okay, you're just getting jump scares and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like entertainment typically, but like stuff like that is so cool because you get to hear like the messaging and like the why and all this stuff behind the film.
It just turns twisted is all. Yeah. Those are the horror movies that I love too as well. Especially like recently they've been really crazy. I mean, we just saw The Substance actually yesterday.
Is it good?
Oh, super good. Like don't even watch like the I'm glad the trailers usually like ruin it, but the trailers did not ruin it. It exceeded everything I thought of.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's in that one?
Demi Moore and Dennis Quaid.
Oh yeah, Bree doesn't watch horror films, which is sad.
It's
I have to watch it by myself.
It's a really fine line of horror, of psychological, and this and that. But I think it's a good watch. But
I like the psychological ones.
Yeah, no, it's great.
The demonic ones, I don't know.
Gets a little extra. I feel
like it's overdone.
Yeah.
The psychological ones though, those are like, because those can be real.
Oh yeah.
I mean, who knows? Demonic stuff can be real, I guess. I don't know. Depends on who you ask.
I think the third one, man, honestly, like having the opportunity to do this was what I would like to do more, because I feel like and I should do it myself too, right? Of creating it on my own, on my camera, and like my podcast I did start, that's almost hasn't been alive in a while and kind of on and off, but I would like to do this a lot more, being able to share information that's hopefully valuable and connects someone and really like changes their perspective in a good way, right? Of whether they agree or disagree. I want to be able to open up the conversation of like what it means to do this, or like what like pros and cons and the battles that people go through. I think that's very like having like you doing this is super valuable in what you provide with all the guests that you had. I'm super honored to be a part of this too as well, because I think that people need more of the honest truth and just the actual like what really goes on.
Right. 100%, dude. And I think whether or not people listened to this or not, like I would do it anyways because I love the podcast. Like it's such a good excuse to just sit down and like chat with somebody. And selfishly, I get to learn a lot. Yeah. Like I've talked to so many people that would probably never normally sit down and talk with me, but it's just because it's through like a podcast. Yeah. That it's like the veil of a podcast that I get to do it under. So it's pretty cool. But dude, I could definitely see you being like a Peter McKinnon type of character on like YouTube or Instagram, where it's like you're providing
his intro. What's up?
Maybe find a different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know, because like, dude, you have so much knowledge and experience, like you're so good at it that it's like yeah, and because you don't gatekeep your stuff like a lot of people do, like I could definitely see that being a thing where you would thrive, of like camera, videography, filmmaking, tips and tricks, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Which I don't know if you have any interest in that, but it could be a lot of value for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, and it goes around, like I said, what comes around goes around. Like, I may have quit coaching, but me sharing information and helping other people is like another part of coaching. Yeah. So that's probably why I love to do it, is because I want to be able to share information and see them grow and see them, improve on that skill. Yeah. It's the same exact thing. It's really interesting when it comes to that framework and mindset of just like how, things just circle back in a different way though.
Yeah. So that's great, dude. My last question. Yeah. Who is your favorite running influencer? I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. We don't want to make Matt feel bad.
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna say it. I'm just kidding.
Dude, this has been great. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't. What episode is this by? What episode?
This will be 68. Damn it. I gotta figure out who's gonna be 69. That's gonna be a big episode.
Oh, you should get who's that guy that does the pickleball and has been running recently? He's been in Matt's videos, actually Matt Johnson's videos.
Pickleball. Is it the Asian dude?
No, it's like Fit Forever Junkie or whatever, something like that. Yeah, something like that. That'd be
Is it a guy?
Yeah, it's a guy. Oh my god, you should get the Buttery Bros on here.
Oh, who is
That'd be a big table. Oh, the Buttery Bros they were originally in the CrossFit media realm.
I've heard of them.
Oh, they're awesome people. They're funny. So I think that'd be. But
are they based in Austin?
No, they're not. I don't know where they're based but I think there's 3-4 of them. I think it's 4, the whole team. But damn, you would need a lot lot of mics.
I need more mics.
Yeah. So damn, that'd be a good group.
I gotta decide who's gonna be 69.
I thought I was 69.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No,
68's pretty good.
It is. It's it's fine. I'm fine. I will accept it.
Okay.
So, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, dude, thanks for coming on.
Dude, thank you for having me.
I learned a lot about Chris Kim today.
Yeah.
Where is the best place for people to reach out if they want to like connect with you, send you a message, ask you questions, pick your brain?
Should I say this to the camera?
No, whoever you want
to. If anybody ever wants to reach out to me, my number. No, I'm just kidding. Not giving my number out like that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no. I can only imagine what would happen. Nothing. Get disappointed. If anybody has questions for me or wants to reach out to me, they just gotta hit up my Instagram. Is ckimcreatives. It's creative with an S at the end. On Instagram, TikTok, wherever. I'm occasionally more on Threads now too as well. That's been that's been a fun sharing platform of information. Yeah. But yeah, just look me up, DM me there, ask me any questions that anybody has, and I'm more than happy to have a conversation with them. If I don't respond, it's probably because I'm drowning myself in caffeine. So I'm just kidding.
I just thought of another question. I was gonna ask you earlier. When you said Threads, it made me think of this. Like, where do you foresee? Like, you do. I think most of your work ends up on social media. Yeah. Like, where do you think social media is gonna go in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, do you think there's gonna be another platform? Do you think Instagram is dying? Do you think TikTok is dying? Like, what do you think? Just broadly.
I think in general. I think you have your top 3, right? You have YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And, Threads is connected through Instagram. I think those top 3 are going to be around for a long time or forever. Yeah. There have been a lot of new apps that have come out through recently and I barely hear of them anymore. Like I think there's that one app that was for creatives called Vivo or whatever that even Peter McKinnon was on. I don't know how. Yeah, like there have been different apps to solely provide this and that, but no matter what, for some reason, people always circle back to the big three, and there is a reason for that too as well. And it's part of the fact that they've been around the longest, but it's just been the most what's common for the longest too as well. So where I see everything happening is that with social media now, post on whichever channel you like, whether it's the same content or different content, but just know that there's going to be a different strategy to all of them. Like TikTok is not going to be the same as Instagram. TikTok's not going to be the same as YouTube. Actually, I feel like personally TikTok and YouTube are very similar in the way content generates, right? But I personally feel that understand how to utilize the big three differently and the same in different aspects. Because I think if you understand the three different social media platforms in the way that they're intended, I think that's where you're going to adapt really well, and then notice the different changes too as well. Because now that you have threads with Instagram, I don't think people should post their captions or things on story posts how you normally do a text and everything. I think people should post on threads and then repost that thread post to Instagram as their story for their text. That's what I do, and that's what I've done, because it's like when you're able to post on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, you know, by just connecting that one thing. And now with threads, because it looks basically like Twitter, it has the same effect and implications. I think that's a lot more, not, I don't want to just say aesthetically pleasing, but it provides different value and benefit, because when they click on that thread, they can go immediately to threads from that. I think that's an interesting way of using threads, instead of like, you know, putting a white blank space and writing text out on because you have to move the text around and everything on Instagram story. I think people should utilize threads for that, and all they have to do is not just repost it, you know, because it's in the same font. You don't have to change anything, and it's just a cleaner look, you know,
and it's more shareable for other people.
Exactly. And then you have a dual audience. You have the audience on Instagram and the audience that is more either on threads and can like comment on threads, and depending on which go, you know, I think that's very, So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So you think Instagram, TikTok, YouTube will be around for
a long time, in my opinion. Like it's been around for so long already, and other probably apps have come and gone, you know, in between that time before. It's hard to imagine what the next biggest thing is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a thing of like, there's so many people on those apps that like to get them to go to something else would take a lot.
In my opinion, I think the next key thing is integration. Because being like someone who handles social media for other people too as well, the biggest problem I think in my mind is like the effort. It's not a huge effort, but I would rather have the ease of use. If I post on one platform, it should go to all platforms, right? So it should go to YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram, right? I'm sure there's certain like platforms out right now, but they do lack certain things. Like some won't like actually like send the collaborative message to some of them, right? I'm sure you've scheduled posts and it doesn't like it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't allow the collaborative like thing. I was like, what step are we missing? Well, I mean, I'm not a coder, so I wouldn't know. But if someone is able to develop an integration system that is a plugin to all three, the big three, I think that is where the next game-changing thing will be.
Yeah, that's so true. Because I do that with all my short form stuff.
Exactly.
But it's like sometimes I forget to put it on TikTok. Because it's not a lot of extra work, but it's like it's an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes of like pasting the caption, setting the cover photo, tagging people. It's like it's more work.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I guess that's the whole point of like a new technology is like eliminating the manual effort.
Exactly. And that created a new job title too. Like social media management is now a job title because of the various platforms that people have to handle, and most of their jobs is not just like posting, but curating the captions, curating the cover photo and all that, making sure everything's like up to par in what they're looking for. And if the moment that person job gets an easier integration system, the more efficient it's going to be. Because like we said before, right, whoever's first on the news has the more impact because they did it first, right? And it has better viewership because of that. So if you're able to post something all at like 8 a.m. on the dot on all three platforms, it spreads. Like, you know, you don't know where that may go. It's a hit or miss on the view count, but no matter what, it's immediately there.
100%.
So,
Dude, do we have time for one more question?
yeah, of course.
What do you think about AI and like obviously that new Sora software I'm sure you've seen, the AI video generator is insane. I mean, you can tell it's AI.
Yeah.
But it's like the first generation of it. It's like if that's where we're starting and it's already pretty good, where does it go from here? And then I mean even like my podcast editor, he uses I think it's like Autopod or something. It's like some plugin for Adobe where it cuts everything up already. It's like it makes it so much easier and it kind of removes a lot of the human effort. But what do you think? Like, what role do you think AI will play in the content and creative space?
AI is basically like your steroided out assistant. That's, I think, how I see it visually playing out. Because no matter, I think right now where we are now, it's a very like crazy, like roided out assistant. Like it's able to do a lot of the bulk work for you. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you still have to do some of the work. And also everyone's vision and how they view things are different. So you're going to change it no matter what. You know, and like you said, the Autopod cuts out all the uhs and ums. Well, do you like the end of the result still, right? And if you're okay with it, then yeah, perfect. It's going through. But I think it's just right now we're at the stage of it's going to be the most helpful tool in like time saving. Is it the tool that is going to make the project for you? I don't think we're at that stage yet. And I think, you know, it's the people's touch is very huge still, I think. You know, I think you still have to have a touch in yourself in the work. And but right now, to me, what all these AI tools is to help enhance your workflow and maybe visuals, especially with Photoshop AI. That thing's crazy.
It's
you know?
Nuts, dude.
Yeah, the generative fill, it's wild.
It's crazy.
But again, like what does it do? It enhances your work, but it depends on what you type in to create it. Right. So
yeah, I feel like there's always gonna be. I hope at least. I hope there's always gonna be a demand. For creative, human created art. And human created things, because it's like if you see an ad. I mean, there are ads out there that are completely AI generated, and they might make sales, but it's like, what's the? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's always gonna be a need for humans to like. And I think exactly what you said is AI is a tool, but the human still has to prompt that tool or use that tool.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like, I guess at the end of the day, it's still human made, but like to what degree is the AI actually generating things for you?
I remember this quote from this TV show. Never gonna forget it. By the wise words of Michael Scott, The Office. People never go out of business. I think that's it was such a it's weird because maybe people might not remember it, or everybody has different impacts to what they take in, but I just love that quote too much.
That is a good quote.
Yeah.
Is that when he's like trying to start like Michael Scott Paper Company or something?
No, it's when Ryan is like in a business school and like tells him about like tech going this way and that way, and then like Mike is appalled that he got brought on to lecture this class. And he's like, wait, is this why he really brought me on? Oh, it was because how the paper industry is dying.
Right.
Yeah. And then like Michael Scott's just like, what? It's just like he didn't realize this is what he was brought on for.
Yeah. Dude, that's such a great show. One of the greatest ever.
Oh my god, it would be tough to rerun it now, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good jokes in there.
Oh my god, the best. Just it's so unique and it's kind of national treasure. You know?
People are too soft now.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, this is great. AI will have an impact, I think, but I don't think it's gonna replace your job.
No.
Like some people are afraid of.
No, I think don't be afraid of it. I think it's just utilized to help you though.
Yeah. No. My podcast editor Dylan, I had him on the podcast a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I asked him similar question, and he had basically the same answer. And he had a good point of like, I think the people that'll win from like the AI revolution are just people that utilize it the fastest and utilize it the best.
Yes.
It's like if you're still editing on like Windows Movie Maker, like you're not going to survive. Like you have to adapt. You got to start using Adobe or professional, like up-to-date software with like AI or Photoshop, things like that. Like it's just a tool. Yeah. And whoever's going to adopt those tools and adapt their work, that's who's going to win with it all, I think.
Exactly.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, Chris. This is fun.
Dude, thank you.
Any last words for the people out there listening?
Any last words?
You don't have to have any. I just
No.
Give you a chance.
I would say that my last words for the people that hopefully like whatever they get out of this is just remember that you are obsessed with what you do because you love it. Make sure you're filling your own cup, but also making sure taking breaks to empty it out. And just, live a good life. Live a good life and try not to, whatever you're worrying about right now. I think I saw this quote too a couple of days ago because I felt the same way. Whatever you're worrying about right now, whatever overthinking thoughts you have, 99% of the time, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So just make sure you believe in that.
Yeah. Is it going to matter in 5 days?
Yeah.
Or 5 weeks? Probably not.
Exactly.
Beautiful. What a great way to end this. This is fun, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Ooh.
We'll see you later, everybody.
Episode 69.
69. Maybe I'll just make this 69. We'll skip 68.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
See you later, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a review, and share it with a friend. We'll see you in the next one.